Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So I registered a domain, giftphotographs.com, because I often gift photographs to people. I'm constantly making photographs of people and I'm gifting them to them so that they can have them in their world. I consider it home galleries around the world where my work is displayed. And I think it's really important to do that. I think I get a big rush out of doing it. I find a purpose for my photography. If I meet somebody and I photograph them, I get them the photograph. If it's somebody local, like recently I was at a local cafe with Mary Lee and we were having breakfast and she looks over and says, "Hey, there's a guy looking at your camera." I'm like, "Oh." And it was a Leica sitting on the table and he's looking at it and I looked at him and he goes, "I used to have that camera back in 1960. And he was an older guy and he was sitting with his family and I talked to him about the camera and told him what I knew about it. He told me what he had done with it. And I waited till they were done breakfast. And then I said, "Well, before I go, I'm going to quick get a photo of you with it." And so I photographed him sitting at the table. And I brought it back to the cafe last week, printed it in a frame, and I go, "I believe these folks are regulars. Can you give this to them next time they come in?" And she said, "Oh yeah, I know them." And I said, we were here, they were here, we were talking about a camera, and I figured I would give it to her, she would give it to them, and they would have this little moment of, wow, somebody did something for us out of the blue. There was a special gift there. And a friend of mine was working at home on a screenplay he's writing, and I was sitting talking to him, and I photographed him. I made a print of that. And I was in a town I used to live in, and I met a woman artist that I know, and we were talking, and I photographed her and put that in a little frame. I was in the town last weekend, and I just put it on her porch in a frame. Didn't knock on the door. She'll find it. Little surprises that make life fun. That's how I see it. Little moments that you can photograph and make prints out of. That they become real. There's no screen involved. They're not disappearing in a swipe. They're just a photograph, a real photograph. And so Gift Photographs, if you go to it, it links to the blog post about why I find it important to make these photographs and to gift them to people. And I have a link also, I'll put in the show notes, of those 3 photos I just described, because they were sitting on my kitchen table ready to be given out to those folks, and I noticed them. I'm like, oh, that's a good photo to show. 3 more photos are going out. And this is what I do on a regular basis. If I'm not working for a client, I'm meeting people and I'm photographing them. If I'm shooting them with a film camera, I put them in a little frame, and I typically take a film camera for my personal time, so most of the time if I meet people, I'm using a film camera. And then when that film is developed, it might be a week or 2, month later, I make a print, I put it in a frame, and I send it out. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. Sometimes I just scan them and send them to a local lab like Miller's or MPIC's, and it'll cost you 40 cents for the print. I don't make them very big, they're like 4x6. And by the time you spend 40 cents on the print and 50 cents on a frame at a yard sale, you're in for under $1, and you've got a gift for somebody that's going to really make their day. And I would love to see gift photographs become a global thing where more people are doing it and more people are sharing work and more people are putting real photographs in people's hands to show the power and the importance of a real photograph, a printed photograph. There's a lot of times I think that people feel like they're not seen. And this says, I see you. You're seen here. I see you. And look, here it is. And it's for you. And it's a gift. And anybody who says there's no good in the world, anybody who says that there's no such thing as a free lunch, this is a free lunch. It's a gift that somebody just makes because we can't not do it. At least that's my way. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support it, the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. I appreciate you all. I'll see you next time. We'll go talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.